Have you ever watched a dream die slowly, without a sound? Not from lack of talent, not from bad luck, not because you weren't good enough, but because of one small word you kept saying again and again, later. That's how procrastination wins. It doesn't attack your dream, it delays it. One day becomes 1 week becomes 1 year, and your dream quietly fades. That's why they call it procrastination, the silent dream killer. If you've been procrastinating, let me ask you something. How many dreams have you pushed to tomorrow without realizing tomorrow keeps moving? Because procrastination doesn't look like giving up. It looks like planning. It looks like waiting. It looks like one more video, one more scroll, one more day to feel ready. And that's why it's so dangerous. It doesn't kill your dream with failure. It kills it with delay, quietly, politely, one later at a time. In a small town where mornings smelled like fresh bread and the same dogs barked at the same bicycles every day, there lived a young man named Eli. Everyone said Eli was talented. He could draw faces in seconds. He could fix old radios with a paperclip and a smile. He could learn a new song after hearing it once. When people talked about him at the diner, they spoke like his future was already decided. Eli will do big things, the barber would say, trimming hair with pride. Eli would laugh and look down at his hands. He would say, maybe. Inside, he did not feel like maybe. Inside, he felt like, what if I fail? Eli had a dream, a bright, shining dream that made his chest feel warm when he imagined it. He wanted to make animated movies, not just any movies, stories that made people cry, laugh, and feel brave again. He loved the way characters in 3D films looked alive, with big eyes and tiny details, like the world cared enough to polish every corner. He had a notebook filled with ideas, a robot who wanted to dance, a lonely cloud who learned to sing, a boy who found courage inside a broken clock. Eli's ideas were beautiful, but his notebook stayed closed most days. It was not because he was lazy. It was because procrastination had quietly moved into his life like fog. It did not scream. It did not punch. It whispered. "You can do it later," it said, and Eli listened. Every morning he planned to start. "I'll work on my animation after breakfast," he told himself. Then he would open his phone for a minute and fall into videos and messages. Minutes became hours. When he looked up, the day already felt used up. His motivation, which was never strong, became even smaller, like a candle in wind. Some days he did not start because he was afraid. He would sit at his desk, stare at the blank screen, and feel his stomach tighten. He wanted the first scene to be perfect. He wanted the first drawing to prove he deserved his dream. But perfection was heavy. It sat on his shoulders and made his hands slow. "What if it's bad?" he thought. "What if I'm not as good as people say? What if I start and I find out the truth?" So he did not start. Other days, he told himself he did not have enough time. "I'll need at least 5 hours," he thought. "Maybe 7. I can't do that today." His time estimation was always wrong. He made small tasks feel like mountains. He treated a single sketch like it was the whole movie. Then there was decision fatigue. Eli's mind got tired from tiny choices. Which software should he use? Which story should he pick? Should the robot be blue or orange? Should the cloud have a face? Should he start with the script or the storyboard? The options crowded him. The more he thought, the less energy he had. And when his mind became tired, he chose the easiest path. He chose nothing. He chose distraction. In the afternoon, he worked at a small hardware store. He was friendly and fast. He helped people find screws and paint. He carried heavy boxes like it was nothing. Customers liked him. His boss trusted him. But when Eli rang up purchases at the counter, he sometimes watched his reflection in the glass door. He looked the same as always, young, capable, full of life. Yet something inside him felt like it was shrinking. One evening after work, Eli walked home under a sky the color of soft peaches. The town was calm. Streetlights flickered on. A train passed far away, humming like a slow song. Eli passed the library and saw a new poster in the window. Local Film Night, short films by new creators, this Friday. His heart jumped. Then his fear jumped with it. He imagined other young people showing their work, people his age, people who started, people who finished. He imagined the crowd clapping. He imagined himself sitting in the back, clapping too, while his own dreams stayed stuck inside his notebook. He walked faster. At home, his mother was in the kitchen, stirring soup. She looked at him with kind eyes. "How was your day?" she asked. "Fine," Eli said. She nodded. Then she said something soft but sharp. "You're quiet lately." Eli shrugged. "Just tired." His mother did not push. She never pushed hard, but she watched him the way a person watches a plant that is not getting enough sun. Later, Eli sat in his room. He opened his laptop. He opened his notebook. He stared at his ideas. He felt the same heavy feeling, and procrastination whispered, "Tomorrow, start tomorrow." Eli closed the notebook. The next day, he told himself the same thing, and the next day. Then Friday came. Eli went to the library for film night, not because he was brave, because something inside him was hurting, and he wanted to see why. The library's meeting room was full of chairs. A projector shone on a white wall. The room smelled like old books and popcorn. Eli sat in the back. One short film played after another. A girl showed a funny animation about a cat who wanted to be a superhero. It was not perfect. Some movements were stiff, some voices were shaky, but it had heart. The audience laughed and clapped. A boy showed a quiet film about his grandfather. The drawings were simple, but the story made people wipe their eyes. The room was silent at the end. Then claps rose like warm rain. Eli felt something twist in his chest. It was not jealousy. It was grief. Not grief for them. Grief for himself. Because he could have been here too. Not with a perfect film, not with a masterpiece, but with something real. Something started. When the event ended, people stood around talking. Eli stayed seated, trying to swallow the lump in his throat. That was when an older man walked up to him. He had silver hair and a cardigan that looked like it had lived through many winters. His eyes were bright and gentle. "Did you enjoy the films?" the man asked. Eli nodded. "Yeah, they were really good." The man smiled. "You're not clapping like someone who only enjoyed. You're clapping like someone who recognized something." Eli froze. The man sat in the chair beside him. "I'm Mr. Holden," he said. "I help run the library programs." Eli forced a small smile. "I'm Eli." Mr. Holden looked at him for a moment. Then he asked, "Do you make films?" Eli's throat tightened. The true answer wanted to come out, but fear jumped in front of it. I want to," Eli said. Mr. Holden nodded like that was enough. Wanting is common. Starting is rare. Eli looked down. Mr. Holden continued, "Tell me something. Are you talented?" Eli blinked. "People say so." Mr. Holden's smile faded just a little. "Talent is a nice gift," he said, "but gifts can sit on a shelf." Eli felt those words land in his stomach. Mr. Halden leaned back. "I've seen many young people with talent," he said. "Most of them do not fail because they are bad. They fail because they never begin. Procrastination is quiet. It feels harmless, but it steals years." Eli swallowed. "I try to start," he said. I get stuck." Mr. Holden nodded. "Stuck from what?" Eli's voice came out small. "Fear of failing." Mr. Holden said, "What else?" Eli sighed. "Low motivation. I get tired fast, and I think everything will take forever." Mr. Holden said, "Poor time estimation." Eli nodded. "And too many choices. My brain feels full. I open my phone, I escape." Mr. Holden listened like he had heard this story before, and like it still mattered. Then he asked, "Eli, what do you think failure is?" Eli hesitated. "It's proof I'm not good enough." Mr. Holden shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "Failure is proof you tried. It is data. It is a teacher. The only true failure is never giving your dream a chance to breathe." Eli stared at the floor. Mr. Holden leaned closer. "Let me tell you something," he said. "Your dream is not dying because you lack talent." Eli's eyes stung. "It's dying because you're not starting," Mr. Holden said gently. Those words hurt, but they also felt honest. Mr. Holden stood up and patted Eli's shoulder. "Come tomorrow morning," he said. "The library opens at 9. Bring your notebook or your laptop. I'll be here." Eli blinked. "Why?" Mr. Holden shrugged. "Because sometimes you need a place that is not your bedroom, and sometimes you need a witness, not a judge, a witness." Eli nodded, not trusting his voice. That night he could not sleep well. His mind spun with fear. What if I go and do nothing? What if I start and it's awful? But another voice, small but steady, whispered back, "What if I start and it's the beginning?" In the morning, Eli walked to the library. The town was waking up. A delivery truck rolled by. A child rode a scooter. The air was cool and clean. Eli carried his notebook like it was fragile. Inside the library, the light was soft. Mr. Halden waved from behind the desk. Eli sat at a table near the window. He opened his laptop. He opened a new project file. His hands trembled. Procrastination whispered, "Check your phone first." Eli placed his phone in his bag and zipped it. He remembered how the films last night were not perfect. They were alive. He remembered Mr. Halden's words, "Wanting is common. Starting is rare." Eli took a breath and made the smallest plan he could. Not make a movie, not finish a masterpiece, just draw one character, write one page, animate 1 second. 1. He began with the robot who wanted to dance. He sketched a round head and big eyes. He gave it small feet and silly arms. He smiled without meaning to. An hour passed. He did not finish much, but he finished something. He had started. When Eli left the library that day, the sun was higher. The town looked the same as always. Quiet streets, small shops, friendly faces. But Eli felt different. Not because he suddenly became fearless, not because motivation magically filled him. He felt different because he had proven something important. He could begin even while afraid. Days turned into weeks. Eli kept going back to the library. Some days he only did 15 minutes. Some days he did 2 hours. When he felt decision fatigue, he used simple rules. Pick the first option. Make it good later. When he thought a task would take forever, he set a timer for 10 minutes and told himself, just see what happens. When distractions called him, he left his phone at home. His work was messy at first. His animation was stiff. His story had holes. And he failed many times. But every failure gave him a next step. His dream stopped feeling like a distant mountain. It started feeling like a path. One evening, months later, Eli returned to the library for film night again. This time, he did not sit in the back. He stood near the projector with sweaty hands and a racing heart. His short film was only 2 minutes long. It was about a little robot learning to dance, falling down, standing back up, and trying again. When the film ended, the room was quiet for 1 second. Then clapping filled the air. Eli's eyes watered. He laughed through it, embarrassed and happy at the same time. Mr. Halden was in the front row, smiling like someone watching a seed finally break the soil. After the crowd thinned, Eli stepped outside. The night air was cool. The streetlights made the town glow softly. He looked up at the sky and thought about all the days he had lost to tomorrow. He could not get those days back, but he could protect the days ahead. He whispered to himself, as if making a promise. Dreams don't die from lack of talent. They die from lack of starting. Eli had talent, but talent didn't save him. Starting did. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one honest question. What dream am I keeping on life support with the word later? Because your dream doesn't need more talent. It doesn't need the perfect plan. It doesn't need the right mood. It needs one thing: a start. Start so small it feels almost silly. Write one line, draw one frame, open the file, set a timer for 10 minutes, not to finish your dream, just to prove you can move. You don't become ready and then begin. You begin, and that's what makes you ready. And if this message hit you in the heart, don't walk away and say later. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story that might be the push you need. Then right now, take one tiny step toward your dream and tell yourself, I started. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.